Since you started your notary business, strive for excellence. Introducing the book, Notary Operational Excellence by Derek Spruill. Build your business on a beacon of precision and trust with expert advice. Check out Notary Operational Excellence by Derek Spruill from Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books of Million, Bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerekSpruill.com, or download from Kindle today.
Welcome to Notary Knowledge. Picture the scene. You've just gotten back to your hotel room after this massive 3-day industry conference.
Oh yeah, the classic post-networking exhaustion.
Right, your feet are just throbbing from pacing those concrete convention center floors all weekend.
And your voice is probably completely shot from, shouting over the hum of 10,000 other people doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. So you drop your bag on the bed, you unzip that front pocket, and what spills out?
Let me guess. A giant rubber-banded stack of paper business cards.
A completely disorganized, thick stack of paper. You lay them all out on the desk, and instead of feeling this great sense of accomplishment, it just feels like a looming administrative nightmare.
It really is. It's the universal tragedy of professional networking. You pick up this beautifully embossed, super heavy stock paper card, and the context of the conversation is just gone.
Completely gone. It's that dreaded who is this moment. You're staring at this rectangle of tree pulp, trying to access a memory that's been overwritten by like 100 other quick chats.
Was this the title agent who wanted to talk about an escrow partnership, or the person who cornered you by the bagels to show you pictures of their golden retriever?
Right. You have no idea. The human connection has totally vanished. And it's wild because in every other area of our businesses, there's this baseline expectation of digital efficiency.
Oh, absolutely. We automate our calendars, our accounting, our lead funnels.
But the second we step into physical networking, we default to a technology that basically hasn't changed since the 15th century. We are still trading ink pressed onto processed paper.
And the friction of that outdated ritual is actually heavily quantified in the source material we're exploring today. The sheer scale of the waste is kind of staggering.
Yeah, let's get into those numbers.
So we looked at the 2023 data compiled by Uprinting, and it shows that an astonishing 88% of paper business cards are thrown away within just 1 week of being handed out.
An 88% failure rate. I mean, think about that.
It's massive.
If any other piece of enterprise software or like marketing infrastructure failed 88% of the time, the entire IT department would be fired on the spot.
Yeah, they'd be gone. But we just tolerate it because it's this deeply entrenched social norm.
Right.
And, that failure rate isn't driven by malice. People go to these conferences specifically to network. The failure is just the predictable outcome of a system that demands manual data entry from exhausted people.
Exactly. Once that little card is separated from the conversation, it has zero built-in mechanism for follow-up. It's a total dead end.
Which is why our mission for today's show is so critical. We are breaking down the topic, Tap to Trust, the ROI of digital business cards for notaries.
Yes, and we are pulling from a really diverse stack of sources to figure out how to move past this dead end.
We've got deployment guides from platforms like Mobilo, Blink, and Wave Connect.
Plus technical teardowns of NFC and QR hardware from NFC.cool, and some pretty intense cybersecurity analyses regarding IPO and GLBA compliance from Accountable HQ and Various Card.
So whether you're a solo mobile notary trying to capture one crucial lead from a real estate office, or you're managing a huge signing agency, this shift isn't just about looking tech-savvy.
No, it's about plugging those massive, gushing leaks in your professional pipeline.
Exactly. But before we get deeper into the tech, we should probably remind everyone listening to check out the incredible resources we have available.
Oh, for sure. If you haven't already, you need to head over to the Notary Knowledge website and definitely pick up the Notary Knowledge books by Derek Spruill.
They are absolute game changers for your business structure. And while you're at it, check out our video podcast, No Notary, with Eddie Montes Travis. And you can also catch Marylyn's 90 Seconds of Notary for those quick, hard-hitting tips.
Love those. Okay, so getting back to the digital handshake. To really build this new infrastructure, we have to start by tearing down a super common misconception about the hardware itself.
Right. The Push-Wish source does a really great job clarifying this. We have to separate the content from the delivery vehicle.
I'll admit, I fell into this exact trap when I first started looking into this. When someone said digital business card, I instantly pictured this sleek, matte black metal card with a little wireless icon on it.
Most people do. You assume that physical object is the digital card.
Right. But it's not, is it?
Not at all. A digital business card, structurally speaking, has no physical form. It is purely the structured data.
Okay, so it's the cloud profile.
Exactly. It's your name, your title, your booking links, your headshot, your CRM routing parameters. All of that is hosted in a cloud environment.
So the physical object, the metal card, or the epoxy sticker on your phone case, that's just the trigger.
Bingo! It's just the transportation mechanism designed to move the person from the physical world into your digital profile.
And conflating those two things, the destination and the vehicle, that actually leads to some of the biggest deployment failures in this whole industry.
Oh, yeah. The classic V-card iPhone problem.
Yes. The engineers at NFC.cool documented this extensively, and the UX friction is just fascinating.
Walk us through how that usually happens.
Okay, so if I approach near-field communication, or NFC, logically, I know a V-card is just a universal contact file, right?
Right, just a text file.
And I know an NFC chip is a tiny memory bank. So the obvious solution seems to be, I'll just save my raw V-card file directly onto the NFC chip.
Makes total sense on paper. You tap my phone, I get your file.
Exactly. Elegant, simple. But I was shocked to learn that this is considered a terrible practice.
It's a complete user experience nightmare. And the bottleneck is entirely created by Apple's iOS ecosystem.
Because iPhones just straight up ignore raw V-card data over NFC.
They don't just misread it. They actively filter it out at the operating system level. If the iPhone's background tag reader detects a raw V-card payload on an NFC chip, it does absolutely nothing.
Wow. So it won't even prompt you to save the contact?
Nope. For the person to actually get that data, they would have to realize what's happening, open the App Store, search for a third-party NFC reader app, download it, grant it permissions, and then tap your card a second time.
Okay, imagine trying to do that in the middle of a noisy real estate mixer.
It's brutal.
You shake a title agent's hand, you say, hey, I'd love to handle your next closing, and then you force them to stand there awkwardly for 3 minutes navigating the App Store.
Yeah, the social momentum is just destroyed. The friction is literally higher than if you had just spelled out your email address out loud.
It's like handing a potential client a locked briefcase with your info inside, but you refuse to give them the key.
Exactly. The whole point of NFC is that sub-second tap-and-done speed. The moment you introduce an app download, the lead is basically dead.
So the industry had to pivot. Oh, if we can't hand them the raw file on the chip, we hand them a map.
Yes. The URL-based model. Instead of cramming a heavy V-card file into the tiny memory of an NFC tag, you just program the tag with a simple web link.
Because the one thing Apple and Google actually agree on is how to handle a web link.
Exactly. Every smartphone has a default browser. So the moment the phone detects that URL string, the operating system bypasses any need for apps.
It just instantly opens Safari or Chrome.
In under a second. And suddenly, they are looking at a rich, fully branded web profile.
Where they can see your credentials, maybe a video intro, and most importantly, they can just click one button to cleanly download that V-card file right into their native address book.
Okay, so the URL tap solves the compatibility issue, but it relies on the cloud.
True.
And one of the biggest arguments for legacy paper cards is that they are totally immune to bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah, paper works in a basement.
Right. It works in a concrete convention center where the cell service is totally overwhelmed. If our digital handshake relies on a cloud URL, aren't we introducing this massive point of failure?
That vulnerability to dead zones is a very valid critique, especially for people networking in massive exhibition halls. If the recipient has 0 bars, that URL is just going to time out.
So what's the workaround? Because our sources from QR Links outlined a pretty sophisticated offline alternative.
The native digital wallet pass.
Like where I keep my Apple Pay and my boarding passes. Exactly the same place. Modern platforms let you generate a wallet pass version of your profile. Structurally, this is just a JSON file.
JavaScript object notation, right?
Yep, a super lightweight data file. It bundles your headshot, your logo, and it's cryptographically signed for authenticity.
And because it lives natively on my phone's secure element, it doesn't need cloud connectivity to display.
Exactly. If you're deep in a dead zone, you just double-click the side button on your phone, your digital card pops up instantly on your screen.
And the other person just uses their camera to scan the QR code on your screen, which has the embedded contact data. That is brilliant.
It is. But what's even more fascinating in the QR Links research is the ongoing relationship management aspect of this.
Oh, the silent updates?
Yes. Because it's tied to Apple and Google's push notification servers, it's not a static document. It's a living credential.
So if I get a new phone number, Or I rebrand my notary business. I don't have to email my whole network.
Not at all. You just update your central profile on the web dashboard once. The platform uses the native push infrastructure to silently update that JSON file in everyone's digital wallet.
Wait, so if I met you 3 years ago and I saved your wallet pass, my phone will just automatically update your contact info today without me doing anything.
Precisely. It creates this persistent, low-level data link that requires zero active maintenance.
That completely redefines the lifespan of a professional connection. It's wild.
It really is. Now, assuming we solve the destination, whether it's the cloud URL or the wallet pass, we still have to look at the physical mechanics of the exchange.
The great debate. The tap versus the scan, NFC versus QR codes.
Yeah, the literature from platforms like Mobilo and QR Code Kit really digs into this. And honestly, a lot of companies frame this as a binary choice, like they have to pick one or the other.
Which is a huge strategic mistake, right?
A massive mistake. To understand why, we have to look at the physics and the user psychology of both options.
Let's start with the physics of NFC because it honestly feels like magic. I have this thin plastic card. There's no battery in it, but I tap your phone and it transmits complex data.
It's a brilliant application of physics. NFC operates on a globally standardized radio frequency, 13.56 megahertz.
And that specific wavelength means it has an extremely short range, right? Like a maximum of maybe 4 centimeters.
Just over an inch. And that short range is a deliberate security design. Inside that card is a microscopic microchip and a tiny copper coil that acts as an antenna.
And it's totally dormant until it gets close to a phone.
Right. Your smartphone is the active reader. It's constantly pulsing a low-level electromagnetic field.
So when I bring the card into that 4-centimeter zone,
The smartphone's field actually permeates the card's copper coil. It literally induces a tiny electrical current inside the tag.
it harvests ambient energy from the phone just to wake up for a millisecond. That is incredible.
It wakes up, broadcasts the URL back to the phone, and instantly powers down, all in under a second.
And that mechanical speed drives the user psychology. Because a tap is never an accident.
No, it requires deliberate intent. You have to step into their personal space, make eye contact, align the devices. It mimics the intimacy of handing over a paper card, but it feels incredibly premium.
And the behavioral data backs that up. The telemetry across these platforms shows that an NFC tap drives way deeper engagement.
Oh, significantly. A prospect who taps an NFC card spends an average of 90 seconds dwelling on your profile,
Which is an eternity in the digital space.
compared to a QR code scan, which only averages about 45 seconds of dwell time. Plus, the repeat interaction rate for NFC is around 35% versus just 15% for QR.
That physical action really anchors the memory.
Yeah.
But NFC definitely has limitations. Like you can't put an NFC coil on a highway billboard.
Exactly. The range restricts it to one-on-one interactions, and the hardware costs scale up fast. A good NFC tag is still 10 to 50 cents a unit.
And you still have hardware fragmentation. Like
Yeah.
if someone has an older Android device where NFC is turned off in the settings to save battery,
Right, if they have to dig through menus to turn it on, that friction is back. Which brings us to the QR code, the counterweight.
optics and scale versus radio and proximity.
Exactly. QR requires a camera, decent lighting, and a user who knows how to scan it. It's a bit slower, maybe 1 to 3 seconds.
But the adoption scale is just unprecedented, especially post-pandemic.
Oh, 95% of global smartphone users instinctively know what to do with a QR code now. 2 billion people use them just for financial payments in 2023.
So the educational friction is zero. You just point.
Yeah.
And it's essentially free to generate.
Yes. But we have to make a hard distinction here between static and dynamic QR codes.
Definitely. Printing a static QR code on expensive marketing collateral is a huge risk.
Because a static code hard codes the final URL right into the pixel pattern. If you change your website, that physical code is permanently broken.
You'd have to throw away all your signs and reprint them.
Exactly. Dynamic QR codes solve this through an abstraction layer.
They encode a short, permanent tracking URL instead.
Yes. When the camera scans it, the browser hits a tracking server, logs the telemetry, and then instantly redirects to the final destination.
Which means the physical ink never changes. I can route my dynamic QR to my booking page on Tuesday and reroute it to my LinkedIn on Wednesday.
Without ever printing a new sign.
So bringing it back to the deployment strategy arguing NFC versus QR is entirely missing the point.
It's a false dichotomy. The best deployments use a hybrid architecture. You use the NFC tap for that high-touch personal introduction.
But you always have the dynamic QR code printed right there on the card as the universal, unbreakable fallback.
Exactly. If their phone case is too thick for NFC, you don't awkwardly rub the card on their phone. You just say, hey, feel free to scan the code. Zero friction.
I love that. Okay, so we've got the handshake mechanics down, but let's be real. We can tap and scan flawlessly, but if that digital profile just sits in an open browser tab on their phone, we haven't solved the core problem.
No, we've just digitized the administrative dread. The real metric of networking is the velocity of the follow-up.
Yes. Let's talk about the integration with customer relationship management systems, or CRMs, because this is where the magic happens.
The HubSpot data on this is actually kind of terrifying. They found that the average sales rep wastes 20% of their working hours purely on manual data entry.
20%. That's an entire day every single week.
Just moving data from cardboard into a computer. If you have a team of 10, you are paying 2 full-time salaries just for transcription.
And the opportunity cost is even worse. When you collect 50 paper cards at a trade show, you hit what the industry calls the gap between intention and execution.
You fully intend to email everyone, but you travel, you're exhausted, and suddenly days or weeks go by.
And a lead goes freezing cold. The data says up to 90% of live event connections are lost just because the follow-up is too slow.
So platforms like Wave Connect, businesscards.io, and Blink structurally eliminate this gap using automated lead capture and API integration.
How does that look for the user?
When you tap your card to their phone, they don't just see a static resume. They get a dynamic prompt that asks, would you like to share your details in return?
And because it's on their own smartphone, the operating system's autofill does all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. They tap the first name field, and the keyboard suggests their entire contact profile. They can fill out a 5-field form in 3 seconds with 2 thumbs.
And when they hit submit, that data doesn't just send you a generic email notification, right?
No, this is where the API, application programming interface, changes everything. It talks directly to your CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive, whatever you use.
So it systematically maps the data. The text they put in the company field goes directly into the company node in Salesforce.
With 0 manual data entry from you. By the time you turn around and talk to the next person, that prospect is already fully populated as a qualified lead in your database.
It can tag their location, enroll them in an email sequence, and send them a brochure before they even leave the room.
It compresses weeks of admin delay into literal milliseconds.
Okay, this is incredible, but we really need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into exactly how notaries and signing agencies are using this exact API tech to dominate their local markets. And we'll tackle some listener scenarios in our Good Question, What Would You Do segment. Stick around. Welcome back to Notary Knowledge. Before the break, we were talking about how API routing is turning casual handshakes into instant CRM pipeline.
And we wanted to really focus in on a high-stakes application of this. For mobile notaries and real estate settlement professionals, this isn't just theory. It's a stress test for the technology.
It really is. A mobile notary is essentially a micro business. Their entire revenue model relies on constant B2B prospecting with title agencies, escrow officers, and attorneys.
If an escrow officer doesn't have your contact info handy at 5:00 p.m. on a Friday when a rush mortgage needs signing, you just don't get the job.
You lose the revenue. So notaries are rapidly adopting specialized CRMs like Notary Assist, Notary Gadget, EasyWeek, and custom Pipedrive setups.
And the way the digital business card integrates with these systems is crucial. The academic analysis we reviewed specifically highlighted the use of GraphQL mutations for real estate integration.
I spent a lot of time breaking this down because it is so different from older API models.
Yeah, how did you conceptualize the GraphQL advantage?
Okay, so I think of a traditional REST API, like ordering a combo meal at a drive-thru. You ask for the contact profile, and the server hands you a huge fixed bag of data. It has the name and company, but it also has a ton of junk you don't need, like social media links and bio text.
Which causes overfetching. The title agency software now has to expend processing power to sort through that bloated bag of data just to find the relevant pieces.
And in a regulated real estate database, injecting messy data creates massive compliance friction. But GraphQL operates like a precision surgeon.
It's a highly specific query language.
Exactly. The title agency software sends a mutation request saying, I'm creating a new vendor. I demand exactly 2 strings. First name and company. Do not send me anything else. And map those directly into these exact nested nodes in my architecture.
The precision is absolute. Our sources noted it can map directly into specific schemas like order.contact role within Qualia or participants.fullname within .loop.
So practically speaking, by the time the notary finishes chatting with the title agent at the mixer, they've used GraphQL to autonomously inject themselves right into the title agency's secure vendor registry.
It creates a massive competitive moat. When that agent logs in the next morning to assign a closing, the notary is already verified and sitting in the drop-down menu.
It's just brilliant. And there's a secondary layer here regarding return on investment that independent business owners need to hear.
Oh, closing the offline to online loop with UTM tracking.
Yes, UTM stands for Urchin Tracking Module. It's just a standard code snippet added to the end of a URL.
It allows your analytics software to track exactly where a click came from, the source, the medium, the campaign.
Since a digital business card is really just a URL, you can generate multiple physical touch points that lead to the same profile but carry different tracking parameters.
So a notary could order a car magnet with a dynamic QR code programmed with UpSource equals car magnet.
And then they carry a separate NFC card for mixers programmed with UpSource equals conference tab.
Exactly. At the end of the month, the CRM dashboard definitively shows that the car magnet brought in 3 leads, but the NFC card brought in 42.
You stop guessing where your business is coming from. You ruthlessly cut the marketing spend that fails and double down on what works.
It's a total visibility.
Okay, this perfectly transitions us into one of my favorite parts of the show. It is time for our segment. Good question. What would you do?
Let's do it. We've got some great scenarios from our listeners.
All right, first up is Julian from North Carolina. Julian says he does a lot of cold emailing to local title companies. He wants to know how to leverage his digital business card when he isn't physically in the same room. What would you do?
That's a great question, Julian. A lot of people think digital cards are only for in-person events. I would absolutely embed a dynamic QR code directly into my email signature.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, because title agents are usually reading emails on their desktop monitors. If they see a clean QR code in your signature that says, scan to add me to your vendor list, they can just hold up their smartphone, scan the screen, and boom, they are pushed right into that automated lead capture flow we just talked about.
No manual data entry for the title agent. I love it. Okay, next is Camila from Minnesota. She is running local direct mail ads for her mobile notary business. How should she use this?
Camila, this is where you utilize exactly what we were just discussing. UTM parameters on a dynamic QR code.
Definitely.
Do not print a standard URL on those mailers. Generate a specific dynamic QR code just for that mail campaign. When someone scans that postcard on their kitchen counter, your analytics will tag that lead specifically as originating from the Minnesota Fall Mailer campaign.
You'll know exactly what your cost per acquisition is for that ad spend.
Okay, let's look at Isaac in Missouri. He's scaling up and building a whole signing agency, bringing on multiple notaries under his umbrella.
Isaac, for an agency, you have to look at centralized deployment. Do not let your subcontractors or employees set up their own fragmented digital cards.
Right, because then you have brand inconsistency and a rogue employee problem.
Exactly. Use an enterprise platform that integrates with Microsoft Entra ID or Okta. You can do a bulk CSV upload and instantly provision standardized, tightly branded profiles for your entire team. Plus, as the agency owner, you get behavioral telemetry.
You can log into the dashboard and see exactly which of your notaries are actively networking and generating profile views. It's a game changer for management.
All right, what's next?
We have Penelope in Connecticut. This is interesting. She focuses on networking at massive wedding expos to connect with planners and venues for specialized, affluent prenuptial document signings and trust work. She feels like pulling out a plastic card is too aggressive in that environment. Oh, Penelope, I completely agree. In high-end, subtle networking environments, the chunky plastic card can kill the vibe. What I would do is use an NFC epoxy sticker.
Just right on the back of the phone.
Exactly. You place a very discreet branded NFC sticker on the back of your smartphone case. When you're chatting with a high-end wedding planner, you just say, let me share my digital portfolio with you. And you casually hold out the back of your phone. They tap their device to yours.
It's seamless. It feels incredibly modern and doesn't require you to dig through your wallet.
No.
Okay, last one. Adrian in Florida. He's hitting his slow season and wants to know what he should be doing right now.
Adrian, slow season is infrastructure season.
Yes.
Do not wait until the market heats back up to figure out API mapping. Take this downtime to connect your digital business card platform to Notary Assist or Pipedrive via Zapier or direct native integrations.
Build the plumbing now. Test the lead capture forms on your phone. Make sure the data routes cleanly into the right CRM fields.
So that when the busy season hits, you are entirely focused on closing deals, not doing admin work.
Fantastic advice. And hey, if you have a scenario you want us to tackle, remember to email your questions to Derek at dereksproul.com. We try to answer as many as we can at the end of our shows.
All right, as much as we love the efficiency of this automated pipeline, we do have to address the elephant in the room.
The dark side of proximity.
Exactly. When you increase the velocity of data transfer, you exponentially increase the attack surface.
And as I was mapping out this flow, a casual handshake in a coffee shop, instantly zapping sensitive professional data right into a massive enterprise database like Qualia, a massive red flag went up for me.
Because we are transmitting this data over open airwaves using radio frequencies.
Right. If a mobile notary is handling mortgage docs or a healthcare worker is tracking medical assets, we aren't just sharing a public LinkedIn profile, we're dealing with regulated data.
And Accountable HQ lays out the regulatory frameworks for this very clearly. For financial and real estate professionals, it's the GLBA.
The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act.
Yes. It mandates strict safeguards regarding how institutions handle non-public personal information, or MPI.
And in healthcare, obviously, it's IPAY, which carries devastating penalties for unauthorized disclosure.
You simply cannot deploy consumer-grade, unencrypted wireless technology in these environments. It's a massive compliance violation.
So how do malicious actors actually exploit this? What are the threat vectors in the wild?
The most fundamental threat is eavesdropping and skimming. Because NFC is a radio frequency, it doesn't just abruptly stop at 4 centimeters. The waves degrade, but they travel.
So an attacker doesn't even need to physically bump into you.
No. They can conceal a high-gain software-defined radio antenna in a normal backpack. If you're in a crowded convention center transmitting an unencrypted NFC payload, they can passively monitor the 13.56 megahertz frequency.
And just skim the data right out of the air as it travels between your card and the recipient's phone.
Exactly, without either of you ever knowing.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's just the passive threat. The active threats, like relay and replay attacks, break access controls entirely.
Let's break down the replay attack first. A cheap consumer NFC tag is basically a static billboard. It shouts the exact same string of data every single time you tap it.
So an attacker uses a concealed reader to capture your tag's static payload. They just log that string of data.
Right. And later, they walk up to a secure system, maybe an NFC door lock or a vendor authentication terminal, and they use their device to broadcast your exact data string.
They're just replaying the recording, and the system thinks it's your legitimate card.
Exactly. And the relay attack is even bolder. It requires 2 attackers. Attacker A stands near you on the subway, holding a reader close to your pocket. Attacker B stands at the secure terminal across town.
Attacker A reads the card, transmits the signal over the internet to attacker B, who relays it to the terminal. They bridge the physical gap entirely.
And then, of course, we have the physical sweat vector that bypasses radio encryption completely. Quishing.
QR phishing. The sticker overlay attack. This one is so low-tech but so effective.
It targets human visual vulnerability. A legitimate business prints a dynamic QR code on a sign. An attacker generates a malicious code, prints it on a high-quality sticker, and just slaps it perfectly over the real one.
And because our eyes can't decode a QR matrix, there's absolutely no way to verify it just by looking at it.
The customer scans it, thinking they're going to a secure payment portal or lead form. Instead, they hit a pixel-perfect clone site designed to harvest passwords or intercept session tokens.
So how do enterprise networks fight back against this? Various Guards research details some incredible countermeasures, specifically the NTAG 424 DNA chips.
The leap from a 10-cent Amazon tag to an NTAG 424 chip is like going from a cheap padlock to a bank vault.
The core of it is a protocol called SUN, right? Secure Unique NFC.
Yes, and SUN technology completely breaks the mechanics of a replay attack using advanced cryptography. These chips use AES 128 encryption, which is military grade, but the real magic is the dynamic signature generation.
I found the math on this fascinating. A basic tag shouts a static password. But the NTAG 424 chip generates a dynamic one-time ECC signature elliptic curve cryptography every single time it touches an electromagnetic field.
It's like a highly advanced authenticator app on your phone. You know how those generate a new 6-digit code every 30 seconds?
Right, so even if a hacker steals the code, it's useless a minute later.
Exactly. The SUN technology does that, but instead of being time-based, it mathematically iterates upon every physical tap based on a hidden key in the silicon.
It creates cryptographic counter, so every tap produces a completely unique data string.
If an attacker intercepts your tap at 10:00 a.m., they get that specific signature. But if they try to replay it at 10:05 a.m. to breach a system,
The system outright rejects it because the server knows that signature is already spent. It's waiting for the next mathematical iteration.
which makes cloning or replaying the tag mathematically impossible. Furthermore, these environments require mutual authentication.
A two-way cryptographic handshake.
Right. Before any sensitive data moves, the tag demands proof that the smartphone is authorized to receive it, and the smartphone demands proof the tag is genuine.
If either side fails the math challenge, the connection aborts instantly.
And on the software side, platforms hosting these profiles must have SOC2 Type 2 compliance, encryption at rest, encryption in transit.
And rapid revocation workflows. If you drop your encrypted NFC card in a taxi, you need to be able to log into a dashboard and sever its connection to your cloud profile immediately.
One click, and that physical piece of plastic is permanently transformed into inert, useless trash.
We have covered an incredibly dense, fascinating ecosystem today. I mean, when I pulled that rubber-banded stack of paper cards out of my bag at the start of this research, I just thought of it as an annoyance.
But it's actually a massive quantifiable failure of operational efficiency.
We've traced the evolution from 15th century ink on cardstock, which guarantees 88% data loss, to a mathematically secured, automated digital infrastructure.
We weighed the intimate physics of NFC induction against the unbeatable scale of dynamic QR codes.
We saw how GraphQL API routing turns a casual chat into a fully populated, scored CRM pipeline, and how AES 128 encryption secures it all.
It's a profound operational shift. But looking at the trajectory of this tech, it brings up a really deep philosophical question about the future of networking.
It really does. If everything relies on dynamic cloud routing and encrypted proximity chips, how long until the concept of the business card, even in its physical tab form, just disappears entirely?
We are rapidly approaching the era of passive networking. Think about ultra-wideband spatial awareness and Bluetooth low energy.
Imagine walking into a convention center 3 years from now. No paper, no plastic card, no QR codes. Your digital wallet establishes a secure spatial perimeter around you.
As you approach someone, your devices recognize each other. If you talk for more than 5 minutes, the devices interpret that sustained proximity as mutual intent.
And they silently execute a mutual cryptographic handshake in the background, exchanging your verified profiles without a single tap or scan.
The friction drops to absolute zero, allowing us to focus purely on the human connection. Given the physics we've explored today, it's entirely within reach.
It's wild to think about. So the next time you return from an event and someone has handed you a piece of heavy, embossed cardstock, take a close look at it. You now understand the physics of its failure and exactly how many leaks are in that paper pipeline.
Absolutely.
Remember to email those questions to Derek at dereksproul.com. We want to give a quick shout out to our incredible team, executive producer Derek Spruill, lead writer Marylyn Lee Trotter, graphics by Eddie Montes Travis, music by Thomas Bynum, produced by Magnificent Works Business Solutions.
Don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge.
This is Notary Knowledge. Until next time.
Are you looking for an edge, flexible income, and immediate professional respect? Discover the hidden opportunity of becoming a public official with the book, Becoming a Notary by Derek Spruill. This beginner's guide provides the universal roadmap to launch your new career. You will learn the core mission of deterring fraud, the essential tools of the trade, and exactly how to protect yourself while building a respected business. Get your copy of Becoming a Notary on Amazon, and step into a rewarding profession.